Here we are in early May and back in our orchard, peaches, plums, and nectarines, and we've made it to our early part of the harvest season, and it looks like we've been successful in getting to this point in the season, ready to pick a few delicious stone fruit here in the orchard. And Pete, what are some of the main things that we've done here maybe that have helped us to succeed the way we have this year?
The most important thing that you all did this winter and early spring was to control the frost. If the temperatures get down less than 30 degrees when the peach flower is fully opened, what will happen is that the flower will die, and once the flower dies, there's no additional flowers that will take its place. Therefore, in the spring, or late winter, early spring, it's essential that the flowers are not damaged by the frost. Basically, what we're looking for is at least one flower per every 6 inches of limb. If it turns out that there's more than that, if you're fortunate enough not to have a killing frost and you do not thin properly, you can end up with a situation like this where the fruit does not size up and it ripens later. To give you a side-by-side depiction, here's a fruit that was thinned, and here's a fruit that was not. This is probably the first ripening date for this particular cultivar, which is called Florida Crest. And ripening, as Bob said, is right at the beginning of May. In my opinion, it's the best melting-flesh peach that we have at the University of Florida.
So Pete, there's two things there that I hear you saying. One was the overhead frost protection, and I think we were forced to do that probably about 5 or 6 times during especially the month of March. We had several freeze events, and the other one was to come in here and thin, and we have some master gardener volunteers that help us with that process, because that's a pretty labor intensive proposition if you have a lot of fruit set. So those two things have been very helpful. I noticed on the nectarines in particular, I'll give you a couple of these that have some splits on them. What do you think may have happened there?
We call the speckling and sugar speckles. They can get very, very sweet, very high in sugar, and when they're exposed to a recent precipitation event or irrigation, the fruit will expand so fast it'll actually split. And this particular cultivar is called Suncoast, and we have about 5 to 10% of the fruit that have split in this fashion. It doesn't really affect the taste any, but you cannot market the fruit successfully in the grocery store chains and what have you. But the taste is still fine. It's very unsightly.
So those three things that we've kind of gone over here, sort of a horticultural aspect of the success, and the splitting is kind of unusual, but at least we've got maybe 90% of the fruit in the case of the nectarine that is really going to be good. So we've been really happy and impressed with some of these varieties and how they've performed this year, and we do still think that there's a good opportunity for some of the small producers to try to grow some of these crops on a local level, market them locally, provide excellent fruit here. So I appreciate you guiding us through this season, and following some of your tips, we've been successful in putting together a pretty daggone good peach crop. I can't wait to get to this one.
You did a good job, Bob.
Thank you, Pete.